Welcome to the first ever Decentraland Community Summit. We're so excited to have you here.
Why are we still here after all this painful but magnificent shit that had in the past like 3 or 4 years, right? Why are we still here after the fall of the metaverse hype? Oh God, that was the. Why are we still here after the mana price going bonkers and plummeting again? Why are we still here after the NFT summer and the NFT winter and the NFT hate and the NFT what the fuck? We are here because, and at least this is my opinion, the metaverse, it is a contested territory, right? We're still here because the metaverse is a territory in dispute. I don't think I have to remind a lot of people here in the audience how Vitalik started thinking about Ethereum, right? It had to do with virtual worlds. Because the metaverse, it is a game, it's not a game in reality. When Blizzard changed the rules of the game of World of Warcraft, I started thinking, why am I spending so much time in this? Why am I spending money on something that I cannot control? We are here because these guys kept building after the hype, right? These guys that don't care about the bear, the bull, but we're here because our goal is way bigger than building an amazing social network, building a great community, building an amazing client and Web3 game or Web3 game-like experience. Our goal is to create a protocol in an open and decentralized way that will power up the new generation of spatial computing of the future or the present. And I know that we're all here because we want to see the new client.
This is super exciting. This is the real alpha, and you're about to see for the first time ever the new desktop client that the team has been building.
Why a new client? A little bit of context. For the last few years, we have been working on generating the whole infrastructure that make this open world possible. That comes from the backend services, the SDK, with the IDE plugins, the Explorer itself, all the dApps, including the marketplace, the events and places. And all of that somehow like converge on the Explorer. While making a decision like building the Explorer for a web application, it was a good decision because it allows us to lower the barrier of entry for everybody. Everybody has a browser, and you don't need to download any desktop application or something like that. At the same time, we have some caveats, right? So we basically face the same green wall of death. And that it was a wall as well for the roadmap, because most of the time we were working on performance. We were trying to make sure that we squeeze thousands of scenes and wearables and emotes and events at the same time on something that loads in 30 seconds in a web browser. And working all the time on performance kills the roadmap, so we cannot really do more features or trying to cope up with what we have in mind, and we were struggling. So let me use this mantra to start unveiling one by one of the features. So you will be able to access with MetaMask, with Discord, with any of the social accounts. And that allows us as well to not only do a desktop application, but to do an application that can be migrated into other platforms. So maybe in the future we are distributed through other channels, like Steam or Epic, or maybe we are in your PS5 or your Xbox. So now we have different color ramps for shadows and lights. We have an outliner that is not a black outliner, it's a colorized one, so it uses the diffuse color of the textures in the different materials. So at the end of the day, those avatars stand out from the rest of the geometry, and you can identify people very well. But the most important thing about the avatar shader is that we are now PVR ready. We have rebuilt the whole avatar system and the whole underlying animation system that make it possible. And that unlocks the roadmap that I was talking about. So we want to be able to use a spring bone for simulations, so you can create hair animations based on the movement of the player. We can do facial animations in the future, so we are maybe compatible with VRM emotions or with the arcade blend shapes. So maybe in the future we're directly compatible with a webcam, and you can do expressions directly on your avatar, or you can do voice chat, and whenever you voice chat, your avatar is going to be using vocal sync. We also have in mind, or the way that we build the animations for this, are with the custom walking styles in mind. So in the future, we want you to be able to create a mode specifically for walking cycles or for running cycles. So if you want to walk like a zombie or like a robot, you will be able to go to the marketplace and buy them from other creators. Now we have given superpowers to the left click. So you will be able to do everything with that, from moving the camera to interacting with the UI, but also to interact with the elements in the environment. So if you highlight an item that can be interacted, you will be able to see the prompts, also with the UI at the same time, so you don't need to be locking and unlocking the cursor all the time. And we have created a specific outline. So if you are far from an interactable, it will be highlighted in a different color, so you know that you need to approach it. And in terms of accessibility, if you press a button, we would like to see all the elements that are accessible. Of course, if you don't want that in your scene, you will be able to disable that feature. Now the camera is centered on the avatar. We don't have no longer the avatar on the left side, but whenever you lock the cursor, the camera going to move to any of the shoulders, because you can go to left or right shoulder. Again, accessibility for that. We want left and right-handed. And you don't need to move the camera on that mode. It will work as it was working before. So the camera right now is like a little bit clumsy. It is too close to the avatar, and it doesn't allow you to see much of the environment, and it's very low. And it doesn't have any kind of acceleration or deceleration, so sometimes selecting object or doing big turns was a little bit difficult for gameplay. So we have modified the camera, and we have now 3 different modes. We have the first-person camera, but now it has smooth movement, so it depends on the acceleration of your mouse. So you can easily select objects, but at the same time, you can do big turns and do 180-degree turns on that. And then we also have the new third-person camera that is a little bit up from what we had before, because it have a clear intention of being better for gameplay and to see more content around you. Spoiler, you will see more content around you. And then we have this new camera that we call drone view that takes you a little bit out from the player. And this is the camera suitable for exploration. So if you want to see things that are happening around you, or you want to have a high panoramic of a few people around you, you will be able to do that. Now is the time for the water. So when we built the new interaction system, we built it with a new input system, so you will be able to rewind your keys. And for French people, QWERTY keywords will be no longer a problem. And again, we want to make sure that we have some accessibility features there. We don't have them implemented, but this is a key factor for us. And we have gamepad support. It is not there completely because we want to do a special theme for the UI, but clearly in mind, we want to be able to control everything with a gamepad. And we haven't yet built the in-world camera, so you won't find it there, but we have nice things for that in the future. Okay, current gameplay. Okay, how do you play this game? The avatar jumped very fast. The gravity is like in Jupiter. You cannot, there is no acceleration of the avatar. There is not much of a control on platforms. It was really hard to control the character. And again, that goes against the designs of the scenes. If you are designing good levels and the gameplay is not good, we are wasting your efforts. So we wanted to make sure that now the avatar and the gameplay feels nice. Again, we have 3 different types of locomotion. So we have walking, if you want to do a nice stroll around the Decentraland, as you ever did. that's going to be by pressing control. The new way of walking is that what we call jogging. It's a little bit slower than it was the previous running, but it is this probably the most one suitable for gameplay. And you have this kind of acceleration and deceleration, and then you have running that have different FOV, and it's faster than the previous running. All of those velocities are parameterized, and that is important because of the next thing that I'm going to explain. So jumping. Now we have difference between tapping the spacebar or holding the spacebar. So for example, if you tap it, you're going to jump 0.5 meters, and I know that value. And if you hold it, it's going to be 1 meter. And if you jump while you're jogging, it's going to be 1.5. And if you're running, it's going to be 2 meters. And that have a correlation between what is the distance that you jump. It's going to be 6, 7, 8, and 10 meters. And we know those values because that is important for, not this slide, that I'm going to explain later. On this locomotion, we implemented like little things that are not visible, like edge control. So whenever you are on a surface, very close to a surface, you won't automatically fall. And other things like the coyote time. I don't know if you remember the coyote from the Warner Brothers, that he didn't realize that he was outside of the edge before falling. So there is a similar concept in game design. So if you jump on a surface and pass a little bit, you will be able to still jump after you leave the platform. And that is a little bit less demanding on reaction times, but as well is good for level designers. If you want to do a more challenging jump, you need to use that extra space that you jump in the middle. So there is a lot of little things in the locomotion to make it better. Hopefully, whenever you test it, you're going to find out. Also, the avatar is environment aware. So whenever you move the camera, you will see that the avatar is moving the head around until to a point that he can turn it so it doesn't break his neck. In my case, it doesn't mind because I'm a skeleton. So it's going to have uneven ground. It's going to be placing the feet on an uneven ground. So it's going to be accommodating more naturally. And whenever you are in front of a surface that have a collider, you're going to be placing his hands on top of that. Yeah. We want the avatar to feel more alive in the environment. So it's like he's aware of the surroundings. So these kind of things, we want that to be able to send that through the network. So if you move your head up and down, you will be able to say yes or no to the people. But also we want to, point at things and say, hey, look at that. You physically see myself with my arm pointing to a specific point in the environment. So yeah, that's the kind of intention that we have with avatar awareness. And that's the slide that I was looking at before. So our intention of that everything inside the locomotion is parameterized is because we want those values to be accessible through the SDK so you can modify them for your experiences. So if you want to do higher jumps or running faster, or you want to disable specific elements in the locomotion, you will be able to do it. If I want to, create a stamina bar and you only can run whenever you have stamina. Or you can modify the gravity to do like a moon-like experience. Or you can do jumping hops. So you can go from one place to another on a jumping hop. Those are the things that we want you to be able to modify there. So future locomotion. You will see in a hint about this. But now that we have this new system, we want the avatar to be able to sit down on chairs. Okay, that's where you need to clap. Like, yeah. Sitting down, the hardest thing to do in a game. We want to be able to create specific elements for the environment, so you can create stairs and climb them, or we can do double jumps, or flying, or swimming, or having like a common mechanic where you can grab and drop things, or having surface modifications, so you can have like ice that you can slide, or you have mud that you get stuck on. And also that comes to the locomotion and styles that I mentioned before on NFTs. So all that things comes together. Okay, let's go to the world. So this is supposed to be an open world. right? And when you're in an open world, you should be able to see stuff around you. And that's what we were keen to do. We wanted you to see as much as we can about Decentraland. But the most important thing about this is loading screens. It's not, that's a joke, okay? But we have redesigned them, so I'm gonna show you first the loading screens. So we have redesigned this loading screen in mind, so they are a little bit less boring, so they are interactable and you can pass through the tips. You have new styles and they are localized because we're gonna have international support, so you will be on different languages. But also the important thing about this is that this is prepared for SDK as well. So if you want to have tips on your scene and get information upfront about what they're gonna be expecting, you will be able to fit this with images and text and different languages, okay? And now the real thing, okay? Real thing is about current distance of radius, okay? So this is supposed to be an open world, and we were able only to render like 4 parcels away. And sometimes they didn't even load, so you face this wall, this ring wall, and you won't be able to do that. So how do we fix that? So we fix that by pre-processing your scenes. Basically, we run your scenes on background. We squeeze all the geometry together, and we decimate them to have a specific number of triangles and textures and materials. And generating all of those different levels of details allows us to render that scenes on a far distance. And the end result of that is that you will be able to be traversing the world and seeing everything of what the sea reaches. I need to do this now. Okay, as you can see here, you're rendering all the scenes at the same time. This is still experimental, okay? There is some level of details. Who's I know? It was Wani? This is still experimental because we get uneven results, okay? It depends on how much geometry your scene has, or how you evenly distributed the triangles, or how many materials. So, well, if you go to the development camera now, you will be able to see that we are not rendering only that, but the whole Decentraland. Okay, we will allow you to create those LODs. So if you have a scene and you want a specific representation, you will be able to have those 3D models, and with the limitations of triangles that we will define in terms of performance, and have them attached to your scene, so it will be rendered as you like it, okay? Empty parcels, it was like a patch, so whenever we don't have any content to render for scene, we basically pick and choose from a collection of 8 parcels. That gives some sort of variety there, but we wanted to go bigger. So we have created a collection of new assets and a new system, but I'm gonna shut up now and I'm gonna show you this. Is the sound on? Cool. So this is the new environment. So we went back to the original idea of this having this red grass. So we went to that original aesthetics. So now we have flowers and trees and grass that move with the wind factor. So there is wind there, and it is get affected by the light. So you can see how the surface of the leaves are affected by the lights. You can hear a bird chirping on the trees, and when you get to the ocean, you will be hearing the waves crashing. And it's because we are now an archipelago. Now the concept behind Decentraland is that the Genesis City is one of the many islands that conforms the archipelago of Decentraland to go together with the other worlds. All of this environment is procedurally generated based on the name of your scene. Okay, so everybody will see the same tree placed on the same place, but whenever you jump to a different world, you're going to have different environments. And now the environments of the worlds are enclosed inside an island, so you don't see like the texture map of the satellite at the bottom, okay? And so we have specific rules to harmonize this. So, we have rocks that clump together, or flowers are only are in a specific place or in different type of grass. And together with the environment, we wanted to redo the roads. And the roads are no longer scenes, okay? The scenes that we had before in the SDK or in the content server, they are still available for other clients. But now roads are part of the environments as well. So we have a collection of new assets like fountains and trees and all that. And we want to do fun mechanics in there. For now, you can play hide and seek because the bushes are very big and you can hide inside of them. So that's nice. I do that. It actually hides your name tag as well, so you cannot be seen. And that comes together with the new skybox. This one is like 16 times more performant than we had before. You can see there we have lunar phases, so every time that the moon appears, it's going to be different. And we try to craft like every single experience to be memorable. So we have a really nice sunrise and a sundown and good nights and stuff like that. And we finally, as you mentioned, some of you, we have 2 sons. By the way, I don't know. Little trivia about this, Decentraland is geocentric. So it means that the moon rotates around the world, okay? Because the sun has 2 suns, and one of them is rotating around the other one, okay? And whenever you see the sun moving on the sky, it's going to be on different phases of the rotation, okay? But the moon also have a satellite, so the moon also have a little moon, okay? Nobody expected that, okay? That happens. And that is why you will be able to control the skybox directly in the HUD, so you can do the perfect shot. So instead of having that behind the settings on a bar and you don't know what it does, you will be able to do that in the HUD and to play a lot with it if you want. Next on the environment, we were able to do that much, but we want to do a lot of stuff like having particles falling from the trees or having street lights that light at night. We want to have streetlights because we want dynamic lighting. That is something that's probably going to happen. And we're going to have particles as well. So that is something that we also will provide to the SDK soon. And finally, you will be able to have a custom cube map for the skybox. So if you want to go to a world and replace the skybox and the directional light and color and stuff like that, the system is prepared for that. We need to all do the part of the SDK. So I thought you were clapping on that. We want the chat to feel connected to the environment, so you can feel that the players are talking. It is easy to follow conversation and to locate who is there. And also need to be easy to use and it needs to be fun, okay? So we have implemented this new chat. Now everybody have a color assigned based on their name. We want that color to be custom, so you can modify it later. As you can see, we have bubbles. So You can disable those, by the way, but they are much fun. And we have also finally integrated the long requested emojis. So we have emojis. And we have the multiplayer designs. So it was important that, so the previous multiplayer didn't have like a fidelity factor on where you were represented. So if you were walking from point A to point B, that's probably not what the other player is gonna see. Or if I do a corner, you're probably gonna see me walking on a straight line, okay? That comes from having to do this on decentralized infrastructures and stuff like that. It's quite difficult. So we try to, as much as possible, to try to make this as real-time as possible. So this is the new multiplayer that we have. So we have created like predictive interpolation and extrapolation factors for all those messages. We have a new soft protocol for the message that we send. You can see the kind of latency that we have there. We are tested this with 100 players, and everybody was able to keep on the pack together without drifting or without desynchronization. We were actually, Nico asked to do a conga line, and we were able to do a conga line very easily. So that was like the ultimate test to multiplayer. And that is that as well, whenever you're walking into different directions, the multiplayer pack gonna be following. So you can go with your group into another place without losing the connection to them. So, but now that we have this kind of architecture, that unlocks the roadmap for us. We can go faster and we can deliver faster, and with a better performance and not worrying that much about performance anymore. So we want to implement all the stuff that we consider is important for feature parity. Of course, for every single feature that we lack, we're going to give them a twist and we're going to re-implement it in a different way, so it's better. We want to implement also new gameplay features, so the games feel fun to play every day. And continue crafting our digital identity. We have a big plan for that. And also working on all these SDK integrations and in-engine capabilities that we would like to see for a long time.
Okay. So as I said before, in the old client, we have the limit of 100 avatars. So now on this screenshot, I was just like spawning 250 avatars, and I was still getting like a stable around 60 FPS on my machine performance. So, and I just want to add a note, this is still alpha. We have still didn't do a lot of optimizations that we're planning to do, but you know, we're trying to get everything all together. So there's still a lot of room for improvement.
We are going to bring back up our executive director, Yamel, to talk about the road ahead.
So the first one that we have been working is the locomotion. Alvaro already presented how the locomotion of the avatar is better, but I think that we can do more work. Locomotion is the way we feel the immersion with our avatar. Locomotion is the way we express ourselves in the world. And I think that the further we can push the concept of what you can do with the avatar, the better will be the experience. Now you can see we have this inverse kinematic. The avatar can touch the walls, they can put a feet on a rock. But there are so many other things that we can do and enable. We have a short video presenting some of the ideas. This is a prototype, not implemented there. But I think you may get the idea. Well. But yeah, I think that continue investing time on how your avatar interacts with the world, make it more fun, and also enabling the creators to build more engaging gaming-like scenes as well. So locomotion is something important for us, and we want to continue investing on this. The next topic is about our digital identity. We have our passport that is not implemented in the alpha version you tested today, and we understand that it's also super important for engaging with other people to see who they are. At the moment, if you enter Decentraland and see the passport of a profile, you may find something like this, the picture of the avatar, and some information, maybe an introduction, and many fields, and also you can see the different wearables they have equipped. But I think we can do much better than this. I think that our identity in Decentraland should be about the things we have been doing. It's about all the achievements that we have arrived. Yeah, I think the experience of joining Decentraland and spending time in the platform is about building this digital identity. And when you find another person and open the passport, you should have this wow moment of, oh my God, this is an OG. He has been around for this long. He is an active voter. He's a citizen. He's a emote newbie, a positive critic, mana whale, fact finder, 7-day streak. I think that we can play with so many things about the events you participated, the activities you are doing, and not only in the platform itself, but also in the other parts of the ecosystem, such as the DAO, the marketplace, as a creator. So looking forward to improve our digital identity and our passport with all of this. So moving forward, I think the other thing that we want to implement is fixing the problem of the single player experience. We may have the conversation, I think it's a nice conversation to have, if Decentraland is a gaming platform or is a social platform. I think we lean towards it's a social thing. That's the most memorable moments that we have is when we connect with other people in Decentraland. However, there is a time between a new user joining the platform and spending a few minutes, and maybe they don't find someone right away. Maybe there is no big event happening at this time. And what's the prompt for that user? In any entertainment application, you go and you have a clear direction. You have like a mission to do. You have a direct quest, something to invest your time and hopefully get a reward. I think that's how engagement loops are developed. There is a mission, there is a challenge, and at the end there is a reward. And so we want to build these basic core engagement mechanics. So when a new user joins Decentraland, they have something to do. And these mechanics, I believe, should focus around exploring the world. Since now we have a client that lets you see far away, and exploring something that is actually fun. We want to encourage all the users to start exploring and go from one point to another. how to do it. This is a prototype only. What we can imagine is you are prompted with that you have a mission, you have something new to do, you have a quest, and that happens right away after you start walking. On your first session, you can open the map and you can see there is a treasure in an area, and that's something that you have to go and find. And the point is that you cannot travel, teleport to that place. You have to walk. And also finding the chest is part of the exploration. And when you get there, you see the chest, you open the chest, you collect a wearable, and you have that rewarding moment, the gratification. You are improving your digital identity. You are no longer a newbie without wearables. You have something new, and that's the hook for encouraging users to continue exploring the world. This is an example, a prototype. We can work with chests that are hidden in different areas of the environment. We could do quests that you have to pick up a package in one location and you have to deliver it in another location. We can make that you need to go and plant a tree or do some kind of public service like fixing a fountain in the road. Those are the kind of things that I believe will retain the engagement of the user during this initial period and encourage them to explore the world, to see the different scenes that Decentraland has to offer. We can spawn these quests and missions nearby, events and places that are interesting, and finally driving traffic through Decentraland.
I know you can't give an exact date, but can you give us somewhat of an expectation of when we can see this client live? Alpha, you all will have access mid-summer, likely July area, and then for the public, we are planning Q4. So we are planning for 2024 release.